now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We got a great episode for you today, man. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405. Man, let's get the show started. Football, then we got basketball later on in the show. So great topics. Let's do it. First things first is what a lot of you need to do. Let me wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I'll do that. So eat good first. Eat good. Enjoy your meals. Spend some time with your folks. Tell people you love them. Whatever the case, I love you if nobody is there to tell you that. I want you to know that right now. And you matter. All right? So that's first. Second, I do want to get into football because, obviously that's why I'm here. So that's what we'll cut into now. But I need everyone who watches football, who's been following, or even if you haven't been watching, to pay attention to one thing. You guys need to pump the brakes on those Denver Broncos. They've been getting a lot of hype right now, and it's well-deserved. Don't get me wrong. They started 1-5. They're on a 4-game winning streak right now. They flipped it around to 5-5, so they're just at 500, and they'll probably end up winning next week again, but it'll be tough. It'll be tough. And I'm not too impressed about the Denver Broncos right now is because this was a trash team. Starting the season and finishing the season last year, this was a garbage team. They were absolutely terrible. We made fun of them. They deserved a lot of the slander that they received during the time, to be quite honest. I mean, you had Russ looking awful out there. You had the receivers dropping passes. You had the defense not guarding a damn thing. It was a tragedy to watch. So they did deserve something. But right now, for people who are applauding them on this 4-game winning streak, in a way, you're kind of applauding them for doing the bare minimum and doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. You get what I mean? And then to go a little bit further into that, the 3 of the last 4 games that they've won, they've only beat those teams by less than 3 points. 3 of the 4 games. It ain't like they just been smacking teams and playing great football and just looking brilliant, complete 360. That's nothing that we've seen. We've seen them play a lot better, but I'm not saying that, now all of a sudden because they won 4 straight games, barely snuck out a win, that, they're going to dominate their conference now. They can beat the Chiefs. They're ready for the Chiefs. They're ready for the Ravens. That's silly to me. That's silly. And you can't escalate things that quickly, although, they've been winning games back to back, and it takes a lot to win games in the NFL. So, again, kudos to them. But the thing I want to touch on here, I want to give out some credit. I got to give out credit to anybody, or if I'm going to give out credit to anybody, it's going to be Sean Payton. Sean Payton here deserves so much credit. Early on in the season, this man was talking trash about Nathaniel Hackett and how bad he ran his organization, and the Broncos organization was trash. He misused Russell Westbrook. He doesn't know what he's doing on offense. It was a lot of different quotes that you can find about Sean Payton talking about Nathaniel Hackett and what they're doing over there for the Denver Broncos. And to be honest, he wasn't really wrong. But some of the stuff that he said, you just don't tell media. You don't go and slander another head coach in front of national media. You just don't do it, But out of all the things he said, he's damn sure backing it up right now on this 4-game winning streak. It looks like he's actually talking the talk that he was saying and proving that, bro, you was doing a bad job when you was coaching this team. Or, whoever else was on the staff at this time, you guys were terrible. This man, Sean Payton, is changing the culture around the Denver Broncos organization, and I love to see it. He's finally giving the Denver Broncos an identity and something that we can continue to rely on seeing from the Denver Broncos week after week. That is huge. We're beginning to have standards for this team and beginning to have something to expect on a weekly basis when we're watching these Denver Broncos perform. And that's huge because, when you completely switch a team around and go 360, That takes a lot. That shows how great of a coach you are. That shows that you clearly have something to do with the play calling, the culture around that building, the culture around the facility, the culture in the locker room, all of that. You've completely set a new standard, and guys are buying into it. So that's something where I have to applaud Sean Payton. Man, doing a hell of a job with the Broncos right now. Again, not saying they're going to go on and beat the Chiefs or go on and beat the Ravens, but hey, you're starting to put some respect on the Denver Broncos now. It's no longer an easy win when you're looking at them on the schedule right now. So I love that. And a couple things that I've noticed too that they're doing differently around that facility, and more so the play, because that's really where we was grilling them a lot last year and early on in the season when they were losing these 5 straight games is, man, the Broncos, they've been better on defense. The defense have really, really turned it up. They forced a first possession turnover for 2 straight games now. They've given up less than 22 points. Let me correct that. They've only given up 22 points once in the past 6 weeks. They've been a lot more disciplined on the defensive end, and this has really helped the offense on their performance as well because it's taken away a lot of the pressure on the offensive end for them to perform. And then I got to give kudos to Russell Wilson, Mr. High Knees. You know the story if you know it. The man was doing high knees on a plane last year after a loss. He's been playing better. The difference I've seen in him is it's been less deep balls and a lot of less deep throws that he's been doing and taking the easy money when it comes to him. The easy check down, boom, boom, got you right there. See you on the flats, boom, it's right there, easy money. See him on a crossing route, boom, easy money. It's simple, it's quick, it's efficient. Those things are what's helping the Broncos offense right now. Despite receivers dropping passes, when they do, you can count on guys catching the 5-yard out. You can count on guys catching the slant route. Hey, get it how you live, bro. We seen Sean Payton do that with Drew Brees. He had slant man Mike over there. Mike, I hate that that's what I remember his name by, but he had slant man Mike over there tallying up the yards off of those slant routes each time. Sean Payton was feeding them too. So why not do it with Russell Wilson? And it's been working too. So kudos to him. I love what I'm seeing. It's been great so far. He's also been limiting the amount of turnovers that he's been having in each game. And the eye test and his stats have clearly shown improvement in those past 4 games that they've won. So kudos to Russell Wilson as well, man. He finally got his head in the game. He's probably been doing extra high knees, to be honest, man, because you know the type of player he is. He's a motivational. As he always say, Broncos, let's ride. But anyway, look, I got some things I have to cover. Before we get to the news, before we get to the NBA topics, there's a couple things we have to cover. First things first is this Monday night game between the Eagles and the Chiefs. The Eagles ended up winning this ball game 21-17, and kudos to Philly, bro. I know I be hating on Philly a lot, but I'm going to tell you right now, bro, the Philadelphia Eagles, bro, they've been balling, bro, and the ground game is so elite, and I'm loving that I'm seeing the ground game like it is, bro. DeAndre Swift, he's been carrying this offense, as I've said, for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks of the Eagles. He's been carrying the offense. Jalen Hurts has been getting carried by the run game week after week. But here's something I noticed. I don't want to trash anybody because the Eagles, they've been playing good. Something I've noticed. When Philly has their ground game rolling per usual and Jalen Hurts is making great throws, they're easily the most unstoppable offense in the NFL. No doubt about it in my mind. No matter what you do on the defensive end, you cannot stop this team from getting rolling if they can throw the ball efficiently and run the ball efficiently. And then if the running back is not running the ball, they still have Jalen Hurts to pick up a first down with his legs. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Philadelphia Eagles. And truth be told, bro, as long as they can continue to avoid these simple mistakes, the simple penalties, the dumb offsides, they're going to be okay. They continue to execute game after game, play after play, week after week, they will be all right. And I don't see too many teams giving them a run for their money. You can play there, but a lot of teams lose games on their own. They lose games themselves. In Philadelphia, they've been in a situation where they've almost lost themselves a game because of things they've been doing. But it's rare that you're going to see a team just completely flat out outplay them and just ball out when the Eagles are actually having things rolling on both ends of the ball, because they're a very tough team to beat. They're locked and loaded on both sides of the ball, the defensive end and also the offensive end. So I see it being a true challenge to stop the Philadelphia Eagles. And hey, man, that's me not hating on them at all. That's honest, genuine thoughts about the Philadelphia Eagles. I will say that. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, they were on the other end of this ball game here. They lost. The defense, I will say, I want to give Chiefs credit as well, but obviously we know some things they got to work on. The defense, they're underrated as hell, truth be told, bro. Chiefs defense has been getting it done, bro. The defensive line has been getting to the quarterback. They sacked Jalen Hurts this game 5 times, and I've seen them put consistent pressure on each quarterback that they've played in the past few weeks. So that's a statement there, or that's a segment on their defensive end, which is really underrated, is that defensive line. And I also think the defense as a group and as a unit has been very, very efficient in terms of stopping the ball when they need to. We've seen the Philadelphia Eagles struggle getting the ball downfield, but again, it's only so much you can do when the Eagles offense is rolling on all cylinders, when the ground game is working, and when Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball like he was. So it's tough to stop that type of offense. However, defense is not going to win the Kansas City Chiefs games come postseason. We know what they do, but the bread and butter for the Kansas City Chiefs has always been the offensive end. They got to figure out a way to get Pat Mahomes some help on the offense, because this is a completely different game in Philly. This is a completely different ball game last night in Philly if the receivers have caught passes. And the sad part about that statement of the Chiefs receivers catching passes is you can say that they're in 3 completely different ball games if they catch passes. The games that they've lost, those are wins if they catch those passes that they've dropped. Chiefs are the leading team in the NFL for drop passes right now. It's a damn shame. You can say they have 3 wins instead of losses if they catch all of those passes. And then a lot of times what we've seen from the Chiefs is even if they've won a ball game, we still seen some bad play and them dropping a lot of passes throughout the season. So luckily, the AFC isn't as competitive, because they would be in trouble if all these teams that we thought were going to be good were actually really good. But that's not the case. So Chiefs, you have a shot. You just got to fix it, because you keep dropping passes like this, you're going to lose ball games that you should win, as you've already done throughout the season. Those 3 losses that you saw and some of the wins that you saw throughout the seasons were supposed to be L's, because you were not disciplined in catching the ball and because you did not catch the ball and execute on the offensive end. So they got to do better with that. And I think that's something you can repair, with multiple weeks left in the NFL. So they can do it. It's not a lot of competition in the AFC. You got the Ravens there. Obviously, the Ravens, they're good right now. They're an 8-1 team or 8-2 team, whatever their record is. They got the best record in the AFC, put it that way. So, yeah, they're competition, but we're still waiting to see what they do in the postseason, because they haven't done anything in recent times. We've seen this story of them having the best record in the AFC all through week 12, but then get to the playoffs and wet the bed. The Miami Dolphins, another team. They can't win a big game. They haven't beat a team above 500. And if they have, I think it's only 1. It might have changed. I didn't refresh my stats, unfortunately. But they haven't been beating teams above 500. Each time they played a team above 500, they've wet the bed. So there's another one for the Miami Dolphins. They're not anything to worry about. The Cleveland Browns, they don't have a quarterback right now. Nothing to worry about. Hell of a defense, but they don't have a quarterback that I would trust in the postseason. The Jaguars, they've been fairly inconsistent, winning the games and playing bad, and other teams losing games more than the Jaguars have actually won the games. And the Buffalo Bills, boy, I tell you, they're living in tragedy right now. So they are not anything to worry about, because they got a lot to clean up and a lot to figure out as well. So Chiefs, they're pretty lucky. They're still my favorites right now in terms of the AFC, but it'll be good to watch. It'll be good to watch. All right, look, man, we got a voicemail caller, and then we got some news. But let's go ahead and hear the voicemail caller. Let's play it back and see what he had to say. Get off his chest. Let's do it.
What up, Joe?
What's good?
What up, man? I just want to say, man, I'm still loving this show. And I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. I had to get caught up with my little sports on the ride home. And I think I'm up to date enough to have a conversation with somebody. So good looking out. Love you, man.
Hey, man, love you too. Love you too, OG. Hey, what's crazy, man? I love that people can listen to this, go to work, go to school, whatever environment you're in. I love that people can listen to this and then have something to say about sports whenever they're indulging in conversation. That is like that's a Christmas gift to me. When I talk to somebody and they're like, hey, bro, I listened to your clip. I listened to your podcast. And, I had this conversation. I was talking to my own boy and I told him, the Chiefs, they got to get it together because they dropping all these passes. You get what I'm trying to say. But, I love it, man. I love that type of feedback. So I appreciate it, man. I definitely love that. But, hey, man, feel free to shoot us a call. If you heard something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, shoot us a call. 219-413-9405. Even if you dislike what I'm talking about, let me know, bro. Let me know. I can address it like a man. Let's address it like gentlemen up here. But anyway, look, it's halftime. So we're going to have some news coming up, and then we'll come back with the news for the run and some side notes in the NBA because that's been popping right now. NBA season is in full effect, but it's halftime. So we'll be right back. All right, let's get it, man. News for the run. Let's do it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. After losing 3 games straight, the New York Jets, they benched Zach Wilson, and quarterback Tim Boyle will start next week against the Miami Dolphins. However, Aaron Rodgers, he's looking to make his return to the field in about 2 weeks after tearing his Achilles in the first game of the NFL season. And yes, you heard me right. He tore his Achilles, and it's been 12 weeks, and this man is already thinking about a return, which is insane. I posted a clip on our social where you're seeing that man had his magic potion that he was cooking up and whatever the hell he had in his glass. I don't know, but it's also helping him recover from an Achilles injury, and that is inhumane to see someone recover from an Achilles injury in less than a year. So I'm just saying, that man, he is up to something. Can't wait for him to share those secrets to the world. But Aaron Rodgers' camp is aiming for December 6th for him to return back to the football field. The Cleveland Browns, they've signed quarterback Joe Flacco to the practice squad after losing their starter quarterback Deshaun Watson due to injury. And yes, you heard me correct about that as well. Joe Flacco, the former NFL Super Bowl champion, Joe Flacco, who won the Super Bowl decades ago, it seems like. They signed him. They need a guy there for Deshaun Watson. Now, some scores in the NFL for some couple of good games that I watched. The Lions, they beat the Bears in a close game, 31-26. The Lions, they'll play on Thanksgiving against the Packers. The Ravens, they beat the Bengals. The Broncos, they beat the Vikings. And the Eagles, they beat the Chiefs in Monday Night Football. So a couple upcoming games you can watch as well this week. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving. But the Seahawks, they'll take on the 49ers in Seattle. The Broncos will test their luck against the Cleveland Browns in Denver. The Chiefs, they got the Raiders on the clock. The Chargers, they'll play the Ravens. And the Bills and the Eagles will face off in Philly. And for Monday Night Football, the Bears will play the Vikings in Minnesota. And as I mentioned, on Thanksgiving Day, the Detroit Lions will beat down on the Packers. Yes, that's my prediction. But look, anyway, man, I have to transition over to the NBA. Enough with the NFL topics that's been going on. Couple of side notes. Man, oh man. This kind of irked my nerve a little bit. It kind of got me going. I'm trying not to ramble out too much. But I noticed, you can't help but to notice if you're actually watching these games. But NBA champion Klay Thompson has been playing god-awful these past few weeks. I'm not lying, bro. I love Klay Thompson. I love the Warriors, actually. I'm not like a fan or anything, but when somebody's playing bad basketball, you can't help but to notice that. And Klay Thompson, he's been playing awful. It's undeniable of how poor he's been playing. Look at some of the stats. Look at some of the footage. People have been putting together clips, all of that type of stuff. The man hasn't shot above 50% since November 3rd. It's been a lot of 3 and 10s, 1 and 8s, 2 for 10s, 2 for 9s in his 3-point percentages. It's been awful. He scored over 20 points once this NBA season. And yes, it's just begun, so it's not like they played 30, 40 games. It's still early on, but I mean, the man still ain't gave you a 20-point game until last night or a couple of nights ago, whatever the case was. Bro definitely deserves some slander. But here's the thing. Here's where my problem comes in. People have to chill out a little bit because the talks of trading Klay Thompson is absolutely insane. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. You got 1 bad game, you got 2 bad games, you got 3 bad games, you got 4 bad games of bad shooting, all of that. It happens in the league. Grow up, watch some basketball, do your history, do your due diligence to understand that players go through slumps. Klay Thompson is not the only shooter in the NBA that we've seen have a shooting slump. Talking about trading Klay Thompson is absolutely nonsense. If you think if you think Klay Thompson should be traded in the NBA right now, you clearly don't know enough about basketball, and that's respectfully, as respectfully as it can be. Maybe you don't know enough about basketball, but that's why I'm here to educate you, because clearly you don't know nothing about basketball if you think Klay Thompson should be traded. It's insane. There's nobody in the NBA that could fill the void of Klay Thompson's game, or as the Warriors' game plan is Klay Thompson if you were to trade him. No matter who you trade in the NBA and try and bring to the Golden State Warriors, nobody is going to fill that void of Klay Thompson. Just because he's a selfless guy, and that system orbits around Steph Curry, and it needs Klay Thompson there as well, who's a lethal shooter, who's a pure shooter. Trade Klay Thompson for DeMar DeRozan, not really going to work. Yeah, it's going to help because DeMar DeRozan can score inside, whatever. They may be a good team, but they're not winning a championship. My doubts of them winning a championship is out the picture. Trade for Zach LaVine. My doubts of them winning a championship is out the picture. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. There's no other 2 guard in the league who shoots as good as Klay Thompson when he's hot. And if you think so, out of this bad stretch that Klay Thompson has had, go do your history. This is a man that put up 60 points in 3 quarters off 10 dribbles. Where do you find that? Where do you find that? They've thrived for years because of Klay Thompson's ability to shoot the ball and selflessness as an individual on this team. So you got to give it a break. You got to give it a break. It's not the shot selection. It's not the form. It's not the system. It's a simple shooting slump. Stop it. It's idiotic to think that, Klay Thompson's taking some difficult shots now. That's why he's shooting so bad. Well, clearly you ain't watched Klay Thompson in the past 2 decades because Klay Thompson has always taken ridiculous-ass shots, and they've went in. Even when he shot bad, he still take ridiculous-ass shots. That's what he does. That's what the Golden State Warriors do. That's what the Splash Bros do for the Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. That's what they do. All right? So some guys catch fire and they get into a rhythm for 4 or 5 games. It happens, but the opposite also happens as well. Some guys go into a shooting slump. We've seen it from the best of them. We've seen Klay go into a shooting slump, which we've seen now and which we've seen in the previous years as well. We've seen that happen to Steph. We've seen it happen to Damian Lillard, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, James Harden, LeBron, KD. The list goes on and on. Guys go through shooting slumps. In an 82-game season, you have to be the immaculate best, like it's not even conversation. In an 82-game season, guys are gonna have rough patches, and it's just that simple, bro. It's that simple. So I've had enough. Klay Thompson clearly played a lot better. He played a lot better on the other night. I think he actually had 20 points, and he shot just under 50% from the 3-point line. So that's somewhat of an improvement. But trading Klay Thompson is absolute nonsense. It's insane to trade Klay Thompson. And then last thing here, moving on to my last side note, because this is just, stuff I got to vent, man. I got to talk to you guys, and I got to put y'all on. If you are listening and you don't know nothing about it, hey, I got to warn you, at least. That way, when you see it down later in the line of the NBA season, you'll understand where I was coming from. The Sacramento Kings, they've won 5 games straight. I didn't do a spotlight highlight or a spotlight highlight player, but if I were to do it this week, and this is kind of a short week for me because it's Thanksgiving and all that. If I were to do it this week, the Sacramento Kings would be the spotlight highlight team because they've won 5 games straight, and it's time to label the Sacramento Kings as a serious threat in the Western Conference. They don't have the stardom, they don't have the hype that the media can give you, but that's a great basketball team over there. The speed that this team have is unmatched. They're undersized down low with Sabonis and JaVale McGee, but damn it, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sabonis is a great playmaker. He can pass the ball, he can distribute, and he can score in the mid-range area. So this man is helping a lot. And on the defensive end, he's fairly solid, but that's not what he's needed for. He's needed for the offensive end and contributing on the offensive end. They have JaVale McGee there to really help them and bring in an impact of presence on the defensive end, and he's been doing that. One of the things about Sabonis is he's going to play defense, but he's also a really, really good passer. And the Kings as a whole, they shoot very well, and they wouldn't do that without Sabonis because he can also help stretch the floor. So this group of young guys here, they have pure shooters, which is immaculate. They have scorers, and they have guys who can shoot the ball pretty damn good coming off the bench as well, and that's what you need. When I look at this team here, from the way the roster was constructed and the way that they play together, they remind me of the 2015 Warriors here. So you got to keep an eye on the Kings because they're gritty. They're tough. They play fast. They play hard. And they got buckets, bro. Like, they got ball players. They don't necessarily have like, oh, okay, this guy's good at only doing this. They have buckets. Like, they got hoopers. They got guys who look like they genuinely enjoy playing the game of basketball. And that's scary. Because those type of guys don't get tired when they hoop. Those type of guys don't get thrown off track when they got a back-to-back night. They enjoy it. So, I mean, hey, you better keep your eye out for the Sacramento Kings, bro. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Right now, they're on my radar to really make a difference in the Western Conference. I'm watching the games and selecting how they match up with all these other elite forces in the Western Conference. And when I say elite forces in the Western Conference, it's really only a couple teams that's thriving right now. Clippers are trying to put their pieces together and make something work, but I'm not worried about them. They never do nothing in the postseason. Really, the Denver Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Lakers are the teams that I'm kind of focused on when I'm comparing the Sacramento Kings to the top teams in the Western Conference. But I think most of all, the Kings can take them, and that's what's scary. That's what's scary. So we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, man, hey, share your opinion. Let me know. Let me know what you think about it. Maybe you think the Kings is trash, and I want to hear a reason why you think they're trash. So give me a call, 219-413-9405. Leave your quick take, and we'll play it back on air for our next episode. Or even if you heard anything else I talked about throughout the show, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Broncos, the news that I mentioned, all of that stuff. Go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405, and we will play your take back on air for our next episode. We'll also share it on our socials as well. Spread the word. But until then, I need you to spread the word. Go ahead, share this with a cousin, a brother, a coworker, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, anyone you know who may enjoy sports or someone that you know who enjoys sports. Go ahead, shoot it their way. Just shoot it their way and be like, hey, bro told me to send it to you, if anything. But look, that's all I got for you. I hope y'all have a very, 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 very happy holiday and Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday, man. I really do wish the best for you guys. And just remember, bro, if you don't have anyone to spend the holidays with, just know, bro, you are very valuable. And I love you if no one else is there, bro. Make sure that, you do something to feel appreciated, even if you have to do that for yourself. Do something small for yourself. Do something major for yourself. Feel free to treat yourself to anything, bro, but you deserve it. You deserve it. You take on each day by day. You go through it. You do whatever you got to do. You're handling business. So, you deserve it. And if anybody doesn't tell you that for the holidays, I want to be the one to tell you that for the holidays. So I appreciate you for tuning in. I appreciate you for getting up, grinding out, doing whatever you got to do, whatever you're doing right now where you are listening. So I appreciate it. But until then, I'll be out and I'll talk to you guys later on next week, possibly this week, depending on how I'm feeling, depending on how holidays go. But anyway, look, catch the games. I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great week. Until then, we'll be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.